welcome back. In the interest of keeping it completely 100 with you guys, I've been afraid to make this video. I want to make a video about how I was able to rapidly learn videography and filmmaking, the resources I use, the people I learned from, the way I went about it. The problem is I'm worried that some badass veteran filmmaker is gonna see the video and be like, what, you want to show people how quickly you can learn to make shitty videos? I think my videos look good, but then every night I'll be learning more on the internet and figuring out a way in which I'm doing something like a total amateur. So if you're an experienced filmmaker out there and you're like, Circa, you're not good at videography yet, just send me a DM, man. Tell me what I need to fix. Don't let me look stupid out here.
Watch me and make sure I don't do anything stupid, okay?
In this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly how I went from knowing absolutely nothing about videography in November to making what I hope are good videos just 3 months later. If you've been itching to learn how to operate a camera, film good videos, or even start a YouTube channel, just follow the tips and channels I go over in this video and you should be halfway decent in no time at all. Let's roll that intro and get into it. And start sending to them on that basis. In MailChimp, when starting any email, in September of last year, I started getting addicted to YouTube. And in November, I decided to start my own channel with daily uploads. 1, so that I could make up for lost time, and 2, so that I could get way better at filmmaking very quickly. But I didn't do this all by myself. In fact, if it weren't for certain websites, certain YouTube channels, and content creators, I would be completely lost. So the first thing when it comes to getting good at making videos is learning. Intense, like fast-paced learning, devoting 5 hours a day to learning more about cameras, cinematography, lighting, editing, color correction, and like a million other topics. Now, that can seem hard at first because it's like, what do I study? What do I start learning if I know nothing? But I promise you, if you just follow the tips in this video, that'll become clear. I feel like YouTube helped me learn way faster than I otherwise would have, and specifically YouTube Premium, formerly known as YouTube Red, which allows me to turn off my phone screen and keep listening to a video without watching it. So I was able to just learn constantly. My videography education started with a YouTuber named Peter McKinnon.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Peter McKinnon here.
Peter has one of the fastest growing channels on YouTube. He's a photographer slash videographer from Canada. And in addition to making really entertaining vlogs, he makes heaps of helpful how-to content. His friend Maddie also has a YouTube channel providing similar content, and I love learning from both of them.
There's only one way to settle this.
Rock, paper, scissors?
No.
From Peter McKinnon, I learned about important camera settings like ISO, frame rate, aperture, shutter speed, and a bunch of other things. I also learned some cool stuff about stabilizing footage, cool camera tricks that I actually never use, and the pros and cons of certain equipment. Peter also has great videos on how to edit videos, from speeding up your editing workflow in Premiere Pro to creating motion-tracked graphics and titles in After Effects. Really cool stuff. From Peter's friend Maddie, I learned about color correction, color grading, and filmmaking in general. However, Peter is a Canon shooter and his friend Maddie, I believe, is like a Canon slash Sony shooter. They shoot pretty much everything on those camera brands. But I actually went with the Panasonic GH5 for my camera purchase, and I learned a lot about the GH5 from the channel DSLR Video Shooter. That channel's created by a man named Caleb Pike, and Caleb is probably one of my favorite people to learn from because the guy knows his stuff and he speaks with authority, and he takes a lot of the hype and the clickbait and the kind of cheekiness out of filmmaking tutorials.
Hey guys, this is Caleb with DSLR Video Shooter, and I just finished the GH5 guide finally.
I really appreciate Caleb's style, and I think it's a travesty that he doesn't have as many subscribers as Peter or Maddie. So if you're watching this, subscribe to Caleb's channel, please. I promise you, you're gonna love it. I also bought Caleb's guide on the GH5. Caleb makes awesome camera guides for several different cameras, and I really enjoyed his course, which showed me the ins and outs of how this camera works. In fact, my quality got exponentially better after learning from Caleb about all the different settings the GH5 offers. I also learned a whole lot about lighting and gear from Caleb's channel, and I really can't recommend it enough for anyone looking to get into filmmaking. Caleb, if you're watching this, you're the man, buddy. Okay, so from those channels, I learned a whole lot about actual videography and gear techniques and topics. Recently, I've got a new favorite in that department, and that is the channel Potato Jet, run by a filmmaker in LA named Gene.
Happy New Year, everybody.
This dude is the f***ing man, and if you're watching this, Gene, I will just to collab with you. Seriously, I know I don't deserve it. I know you have way more subscribers than me, but if you're watching this, big ups. Now, Casey Neistat is the original vlog unboxing review tutorial channel, but I've found that his videos don't really teach a whole lot about cinematography and production. And that's on purpose because Casey readily admits that his production value is not the best, but he still has a whole lot to teach about making great videos. That's because Casey's focus on story is second to none. He actively commits to telling a 3-act story in every video he makes.
That is the rule of a 3-act narrative. You've got a beginning, you've got a middle, you've got an end.
And that taught me a whole lot about how to sequence my videos. Lastly, I learned a lot about cinematography from a channel called Cinecom, which is ran by some of the most badass filmmakers on YouTube.
And today we are recreating the camera rotation effect from A$AP Rocky, A$AP Forever, so let's swing into it!
I highly recommend Cinecom for learning some advanced filmmaking techniques. They really go in depth with some audacious video creation. Now, there are a lot more to mention here. These are just the channels that helped me learn about filmmaking when I was just starting out all the way back in November. Other notable mentions include Armando Ferreira, I believe that's his name, dope filmmaker. Aiden Robbins, I don't know how old this kid is, but he's definitely younger than me, and he makes amazing tutorials and knows everything about filmmaking, and I'm jealous of him and I want his brain and his childhood. And Ju.Works, who is a freaking wizard when it comes to color correction, color grading, specifically for the GH5. I actually bought his lookup tables, which are color correction and grading presets. I took his color correction class and I changed my whole color correction workflow to use his tools and tutorials, and it looks a lot better now. I'm getting maximum color out of this GH5. So after going through this intense learning period for a month, I had settled on purchasing a GH5. While most YouTubers are recommending Canon and Sony for your camera, like a broad majority of them are doing that, if you go into the forums, Reddit threads, other text-based message boards online, you'll find a majority of filmmakers actually recommending the GH5. Canon EOS R, Sony a7 III, Panasonic GH5, all three of these cameras compete directly with each other, and all of them are fine options. The differences between them is actually pretty nitpicky. I got the GH5 and a Panasonic 12 to 35 millimeter lens to start out. This lens is built by Panasonic, which means that it provides the very best image stabilization and autofocus that the GH5 can produce. When you start throwing lenses from other manufacturers at the GH5, it doesn't do so well in those categories. Now, what I'm recording on right now is the Sigma 18 to 35 millimeter lens. Every YouTuber recommends it. It's a favorite among prosumer filmmakers, and the problem with it on the GH5 is that not only do I have to use what's called a speed booster to make it fit on the GH5, but it removes the ability to autofocus and it has no in-lens stabilization. So I have to actually manually focus the Sigma when it's on the camera. So if I'm shooting, I gotta be manning that focus ring pretty constantly, and if I wanna do a static shot like this, I have to find my focus, lock it off there, and make sure I don't go too far back or too far forward. I need a wide depth of focus so that if I do this or I do this, it's still gonna be in focus. I also got this Manfrotto monopod, which extends out to like 15 feet. It's telescopic, and it makes shots like these. And I got the Joby GorillaPod 5K, which makes shots like these. People complain about this thing all the time on YouTube, but they're wrong. They're just wrong, like they're not correct. I'm pushing down on this thing. It's not gonna fall over. Like with as much pressure as this camera would put on it, there's no way it's falling over. I also got a very cheap tripod, which allows for this locked off shot you're seeing right now. And I saw no need to upgrade to like one of the badass tripods. Like it's just I just needed to stand there. Some higher tier purchases I eventually made were the Zhiyun Tech Weebill Lab gimbal, which helps me get shots like these. And this Aperture C120D LED light with the Aperture Light Dome Mini 2, which allowed me to light my shots continuously instead of using sunlight and a big ass window, which would make my footage look like this from time to time, going from super bright to super dark and having to fiddle with everything in post to make sure it stays even. Then, and this is the most important part, as soon as my camera came in the mail, I started shooting footage and editing videos. The more footage you shoot, the more camera techniques you try out, the better you're going to get faster. Here's the first time lapse I ever shot. I shot it by putting putting my camera on a monopod and then recording video. Now I know to always use a tripod in situations where I need the camera to be locked off in one position. And I know to use the time-lapse feature that's native to the GH5 camera, which makes time lapses with pictures instead of sped up video, which is technically the better way to make a time lapse. If I hadn't shot that shitty time lapse and 12 other shitty time lapses, I would have never been pressured to learn how to make better time lapses. So shooting and editing consistently is essential to getting better as a filmmaker. Nowadays, I spend my evenings next to my wife, furiously researching camera techniques, settings, and the science behind making great moving images on my phone. Here's a look at my Chrome tabs. It's disgusting. And every morning I'm looking to apply something I learned last night on the next video. I actually come into the office with an unfinished edit that I have to wrap and send out that day, and I hate it. I hate the video that I made because I learned so much last night that almost everything I'm doing in it is stupid to me now. By learning from pros, making measured purchasing decisions, and shooting and editing every single day, I got a lot better a lot quicker than I otherwise would have. Now, I've still got a long way to go before I feel comfortable actually calling myself a filmmaker. Just like with my guitar playing, I'm too hyper aware of how many people out there are better than me to ever take credit for being good. I will say that I think my color correction and grading is pretty good, but who knows, maybe there's a vet out there or a teenager like Aiden Robbins who's going to open my eyes to how much I suck. Until then though, I'm gonna keep watching, keep learning, keep shooting, keep editing, and keep uploading. With that said, I've been Circa for Full Stack Creative. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. We drop new tutorials, reviews, training on marketing and entrepreneurship 3 times a week, and marketing and entrepreneurship is my forte, unlike videography. And if you haven't yet, make sure to enter our contest by clicking the link in the description for a chance to win this Audient ID 14 interface and a free year of our Indie Pro membership service. Beyond that, stay inspired, and I will see y'all next time. Peace out, Indies.